Hello, and welcome to David's Thought Machine, where we'll be talking about some of the stocks that I follow and the reason why I own them and what I expect their performance to be in the near future and the medium to long-term future. Today we're going to specifically be talking about a company called Ardelyx, ARDX, that I've been following for a while now and have been building a sizable position in Ardelyx since February of this year, 2021. They have an upcoming PDUFA date on April 29th, and we'll be reviewing why we have a sizable position and why we expect the performance of Ardelyx to outperform the general market over the next year. Today, April 15th, Ardelyx traded 20 million shares, which is a tremendous volume day for the company, and broke out of its long-term top of 8 in a significant way, which is great from a technical basis. So let's go ahead and look at why we expect Ardelyx to continue moving higher through the PDUFA date and into commercialization of their lead drug, tenapanor. So the market that Ardelyx addresses is the hyperphosphatemia market with their lead drug candidate. And the only drugs available are phosphate binders, which people eat in a large quantity as they're eating food in order to reduce the amount of phosphate that's absorbed into their bloodstream. Because people with chronic kidney disease have problems with their phosphate levels. So this is a new mechanism of action. It's an already approved drug. That's an important aspect of this. It was approved for IBD a few years ago, but not marketed because of the competitive landscape for IBD. And if you look at the performance of this drug, it's gone over through multiple trials, and you can see that most nephrologists, who are the people who are going to be prescribing this drug, see a tremendous opportunity for this. Most of them feel that it's high need, that its tolerability, efficacy, patient adherence, and dosing and administration are better than phosphate binders. And most of them expect to use tenapanor in first-line treatment or combined with phosphate binders. Now, hyperphosphatemia is a very large market, growing very quickly. 16.61% is the forecasted growth for it, where you can see that Asia Pacific is a very fast-growing region. So yesterday, they announced that Japan had moved into phase 3 trials, and they were due a $5 million milestone payment for the transition to phase 3. And then they also have a partnership in China. So they have China and Japan locked up for commercialization, and those companies are moving forward in commercializing in that region, which is the fastest growing region. It's also a huge market where you can see that it currently is a multi-billion-dollar market, but it's going to get a lot bigger in the next, through 2027. So there's a large growth market, a big growth opportunity for a brand new mechanism of action that can be combined with existing phosphate binders, and really is a significant value proposition to patients, as you could see by the way that nephrologists are looking at the drug. If we had just taken tenapanor for hyperphosphatemia alone, that would be a large enough market opportunity and justify a higher stock price than currently, because it has $1 billion plus opportunity with $4.75 in earnings predicted for 2025. So, and a tremendous ramp over the next few years, which we'll review. But there's a bonus. They have a phase 2 drug for hyperkalemia, which is also a small molecule drug, which is completely new mechanism of action, where there's only binders. So to the same exact group, selling to the same nephrologist for chronic kidney disease. And you can see in their phase 1 study that it was very, very successful, and they had this higher potassium excretion using their drug than they did the existing binders. And now if you combine that with binders, you would probably even multiply that effect. So it's very similar to their existing drug that they're going to hopefully be approved for in the next few weeks for hyperphosphatemia, and it will double their market size. So you're talking about a $2 billion revenue opportunity for a company that's still trading less than $1 billion. Today at the close, we're talking about 850 million. There's about 100 million shares outstanding. So there's a huge opportunity for upside here. So here we can see that the hyperkalemia market is also expected to grow by 18.2%, and it occurs in 23 to 47% of patients with chronic kidney disease. So also a large percentage of patients who have the problem with hyperkalemia. And so that's another huge market. So this is where we expect the opportunity size to significantly increase on the results of the phase 2 data, which is probably going to come out, the dose escalation open label part of it, potentially this summer. So when reviewing the insider trading, it might seem like there's a lot of selling activity, but that's not the case. All of these sales, if you looked at them, except for maybe one or two, are all to pay taxes on the restricted shares that the main company officers are receiving. So these are only for tax purposes, to pay for the taxes, and they're not actually selling or lowering their position. They're increasing their position and just using these sales to pay the tax bill, to ensure that their taxes are paid. But the big buy that stands out here is from the head of the board of directors of Ardelyx, David Mott. And if we look at his profile, he was the CEO and president of a company called MedImmune that sold to AstraZeneca for $15 billion, and also a general partner at NEA, which is a very successful firm. So there's tremendous support that the chairman of the board is buying a significant position over the last year, and he obviously believes that the stock is going to trade significantly higher in the near future. So I believe that ARDX will receive approval on April 29th primarily because it's an already approved drug for a different indication, and the drug is tremendously valuable for this patient population. And it's not a nice to have drug, it's a must have that adds a lot of value to the existing therapies. So it gives another important therapy for patients, which the FDA should consider in their analysis. I think it will be prescribed by nephrologists very quickly. They've already shown that they have a very high expectation for prescribing this drug to patients. Based on the phase 1 results for their hyperkalemia drug, it also seems that their phase 2 results should be highly significant to the stock, potentially doubling the market size, and is not at all priced into the stock currently. So there's a lot of room for value, and we should see that some open label results potentially this summer. So through the balance of the year, we should have the PDUFA approval. After that, I think we have a very strong ramp of sales, as well as some excitement that they have another drug to the same patient population and that can be sold by the same sales force that will potentially double their market. And my expectation is that there's still room for 100% increase in the stock over the next 12 months. Thanks for joining me at David's Thought Machine. Make sure to like and subscribe, and see you next time. Thank you very much.